I invite you to join me in living authentically, to show up as your authentic self. And the only thing stopping you from living authentically is fear. This fear manifests in many different forms. But really the essence of all these forms, such as the fear of what other people think, or the fear of loss, or the fear of the unknown, you see that thread that runs through those three examples is fear. And these are the things that really, I said prevent, but they don't really prevent you unless you don't walk through. So if you don't step through the fear, then yes, the fear will prevent you. But by stepping through the fear, it fortifies you, it forges you in your authentic self. Stepping through that fear is really an initiation. All initiations have fear. And by stepping through that fear, you're really stepping through fire. And that fire is what purifies you. It burns away all that's false. And what remains is the authentic you. So don't let it prevent you from living authentically. Don't run from it. Step through it. Step through that fear. It's part of the process. It's not like you're not going to experience that fear. So don't see it as something bad, something that is wrong, something that shouldn't be here. It is here to serve you. If you let that fear serve you by recognizing that point in the journey as something you have to step through, it's another initiation to purify you, where more of the false falls away, is burned, and allows more of an authentic expression, then you see it actually serves you in living more authentically. And you see, this journey is really about going through these initiations, stepping through fear over and over and over, in which you are purifying yourself. And in doing so, experiencing the fulfillment of living authentically. And you see, what wants to come through is your authentic expression, just to a higher degree. It's always finding greater and greater expression. It wants to express itself in all different forms of life. It wants to express itself in all different areas of life. Your highest expression is your most authentic expression. So some of these initiations are really stepping through the fear of being alone, the fear of uncertainty, the fear of what other people think, the fear of losing everything. And you see, they come in such ordinary ways. The fear of what other people think. It's not like this is some initiation where you're literally walking through fire in some ceremony, ritual way. This may look like posting something on social media. It might look like starting a YouTube channel. It might look like sharing your art with a friend or a family member. And you see, in that moment, you feel that fear. And the question is do you feel that fear and step through it anyways? Or do you feel that fear and run? Most people, as soon as they feel that fear, they run. But if you can feel that fear and rise, then you see that you're rising like the phoenix that rises from the ashes. And the ashes are the old version of you, the false version of you, that which has been burned through the fire. The authentic you then rises. Or you could say on the other side of that fear is the authentic you. But you won't know that authentic you. You won't experience the fullness and fulfillment of the authentic you unless you step through that fear. And you see, this is about stepping through this fear over and over and over as it presents itself in various forms. So it could have been sharing your art with a friend or a family, posting something on social media, starting a YouTube channel, whatever it is, where there's that fear that arises. What are other people going to think? That's something that feels like it holds you back. You know that feeling inside. You feel like something is holding you back, and it feels like fear. And really, that is the suppression of the expression of your authentic self. So when you stop suppressing your authentic self and express it, you see that that expression, that's what literally comes through that, what feels like a wall of fear. It's more like a threshold. And that's the initiation. That you come up to that threshold, but you don't turn around and run from it. You feel that buildup, that intensity. That intensity is the fire of transformation. And you see that as long as you step through, you experience something you've never experienced before. Because the thing that you haven't experienced before is on the other side of fear. So it could look like the fear of what other people think. What's another one here? The fear of loss. The fear of loss. Let's say in your business, to really show up more authentically in your business requires you to express yourself in a way that other people may not like, right? And this makes people uncomfortable. This is no longer familiar to your clients. And you see that you can't hold it down anymore. It's this feeling that's sort of like eating you alive. Or you could see it from this angle. It's this feeling of feeling dead inside. And that's because you're suppressing your aliveness, and that aliveness is your authentic expression. So as long as you keep on suppressing the aliveness that wants to naturally express, you continue to feel dead inside. Something is being held back. Something is being resisted. And you see that actually everything that you have ever wanted, you are actually just resisting it. When you just simply allow it to be expressed fully, you experience the fulfillment of living authentically. Everything that you've ever wanted is you. And expressing the truth of yourself in everyday life, you get to experience a life that you could never imagine. So when you're facing this challenge of loss, It could be, well, if I really start showing up authentically, when I really show up authentically in my business and I stop holding back, when I stop shrinking, when I stop folding, when I stop collapsing, when I stop diluting, when I stop dimming my light and I actually shine, radiating my authentic self in my business, then, well, what if I lose some clients? What if I lose all my clients? And you see, that fear is again another threshold. It's another initiation that you walk through. It's another purification that you experience. Because when you actually step through it, when you make that decision to not hold back, what does that look like? It could look like raising your prices. You raise your prices because you've raised your standards. You want other people to meet you at full commitment. And you see, full commitment doesn't come at a low price. It's not something to be sampled. You see that you're not something to be sampled. So your standards rise. And as a result, your price rises. And because your price rises, well, then your current clients are then presented an opportunity to rise with you or to fall away. And those who don't rise with you will fall away. And that's the fear of loss. That if you actually show up authentically in your business, are you going to lose your current clients? Well, the short answer is yes, you will. You will. If you actually rise, then you will. There's going to be very few of the clients you currently have who will rise with you. You might have 1, 2, 3, possibly, but anything more than that is going to be slim chances. So that's the fear that you're presented with. That actually, if you express yourself authentically, and you see that authenticity expresses itself in your business, literally in your pricing, then you see that others might not resonate with that anymore. There's a bug on my screen. Others might not resonate with that anymore, right? They like what you're saying, but they don't like the pricing. And that pricing becomes an initiation for them. That you're no longer being sampled. You're no longer allowing yourself to be accessible to everyone. Because that accessibility, to be accessible to everyone, comes from an overcompensation pattern. It comes from pretending. It's not authentic to you. So you stop tolerating that inauthenticity within yourself, and how that reflects in your business is also that your business no longer tolerates inauthenticity. So you see, that changes your business. It transforms your business, because your business is simply a reflection of you. So in this time when you are being purified and you step through the fear of losing everything, losing your clients, or losing whatever traction you had, or your followers, or anything like that, you see that actually it's that purification. And what remains is the truth, right? And you see that you'll go through this process of purification, like a cleansing, a purification, where the clients that you once had, that were familiar, the current clients, those that were at a lower standard when you were at a lower standard, you see they actually fall away because your standards have risen. Then you see that only those who rise with you remain. And if no one rises with you, then it's just you. And this is where you're really what's the word here? You're forged. You're forged in the fire of transformation. It's just you. And can you stand alone in this time? It's not forever, but the old pattern will kick in. Okay, well, maybe I'll lower my price because I haven't got a new client in the last 2 weeks since raising my price. Or, oh my God, I used to have so many people in my community and now it's starting to feel lonely. All just me by myself. So maybe I'll just invite some more people in to ease that discomfort. Or I used to have all these followers and now I switched up and now I'm not getting views or I'm not getting subscribers or whatever it is. No one's liking my content. No one likes me. Right? So you see this pattern will show up, and most people then can't bear that aloneness when they are being forged in the fire of transformation. So they slip back into the pattern to ease the discomfort. They slip back in that pattern as a way of relief, relieving themselves from the intensity of the fire of transformation. But if you can stand in that fire, you will be purified. And that which remains is a more pure version of yourself, a more authentic version of yourself, because the false is being burnt. And that which rises from the ashes is your authentic self. You'll look back on that experience and see how you could have taken the easy way out. And the easy way out is to run instead of rise. But instead, you chose to step through your fear. You chose to stand and stick it out when no one was around. And in doing so, you were forged in that fire of transformation. And that's why you have the strength that you do now to stand as your authentic self. That's what people can feel. They can feel the realness in you. They can feel the real. They can feel how your words aren't simply regurgitating scriptures and what other teachers and gurus and people on the internet are saying. Your words have power because they're lived. You're speaking from experience. You're speaking from that place in you that is true. You're speaking as one who's walked through that fire and who's now living authentically because doing so. So the fear of loss, the fear of what other people think, what was the other one? Well, the fear of loss also is tied to the fear of being alone. The fear of being alone. The fear of being alone is sort of connected to also the fear of not being understood, right? You could experience this in your family, sort of black sheep, sort of one who's cast out of their family, because as you're transforming, your transformation is going to expose the distortion patterns in your family. things that you no longer tolerate within yourself, you will no longer tolerate within your family. You'll become this mirror that really reflects your family members, and looking in the mirror is like facing your fear, and you see no one wants to look in the mirror, right? So you're sort of casted out in your own family. You're sort of like a black sheep. You're you're misunderstood, and that's fine, because that's actually what you have to get over. Because trying to be understood is a sort of reaching for comfort. Just understand me and let's connect if you understand me. It's sort of reaching out so that I won't feel alone. And this sort of reaching, grasping to be understood. Oh, if only people could understand me. Then you think that you won't feel that discomfort of being truly alone. So again, it's like reaching for relief. To be understood is like reaching for relief. And that's something that you have to overcome. You have to let go. You have to stop reaching. When you stop reaching to be understood, then you see you have become undeniable. And when you are undeniable, you don't need to be understood. I don't need to be understood because I'm undeniable, right? And this is when you're living authentically, right? Authenticity is undeniable. It doesn't need to be understood, right? So when you are undeniably authentic, you'll see you're no longer needing to be understood. You're content by yourself, alone, right? And it's not like you hear that word alone and think, oh, this person's a loner, or think, oh, this person just doesn't like other people. No, it's just simply you're not reaching for that relationship connection. You're not trying to find yourself through the connection with another, because you have found that connection as yourself. And this is where it breaks down, because breaks down in words of expression, because connection implies two. But really, you're finding yourself by going inward. And you go inward when you stop reaching and grasping. So when you stop reaching and grasping, you turn inward and you find exactly what you have been looking for in the other, which is yourself. What was the other example that I gave you? Alone, fear of what other people think, fear of loss. Pretty sure that's what it was. Those are three of the most common forms that fear arises in these everyday examples. Of course, there's that thread of fear in all of them. And really, if we want to make it even more clear, you see, it's the fear of death in all of these things, right? Because it's really the death of the identity. It's not the death of who you are, it's the death of who you're not. And you see, that's what dies in these initiations. Like I said, is these initiations, walking through fire, being purified, what do you think is being burned away? It's the identity that you think you are, but in truth, you are not. So the only thing that actually gets burned away is who you're not. And that's what, through continuing to walk through these initiations, to continuously be initiated in these everyday examples that I'm sharing, you see that actually what is being burned away is who you're not, and what remains is who you are. So if you want to live authentically, then I invite you into this initiation to walk through the fire of transformation in living truth.